Okay, so I've demasked our canopy now, and as you can see, we can see all our pilots and it's looking nice and all that kind of stuff. Okay, and we've got all our little bits done and we can start gluing it all on, but there is this optional extra you could do to this model. Okay, now I've already done it on one side just to show you, but it's the Tamiya polishing compound and it's the finish. Okay, you can get, I'll just get it, you can get the set, and the set you get coarse, fine and the finish. Okay, now I use this for canopies, and what you can do is you polish on the coarse, which kind of gives it a really light sanding, and then it goes an even finer sanding, and then it finishes it off to a nice kind of canopy, glassy mirror finish, which is really good. But for this, we can use it for another way of using it, and that is to polish our gloss work. Now, I don't know how well you can tell this on camera, but I have polished this side and left this side unpolished. Okay, so I don't know how well you're going to see it, but this is the polished side and it's got like a kind of a nice mirrory finish, and then you got this side which is, it's nice and glossy, but it's not as good as the other side by far, actually, to be honest. I mean, as I say, I don't know how well you're seeing this on camera, but I am looking at this now and I can definitely tell that our left side here is looking a lot nicer, shinier, glossier, mirror finishy compared to just our spraying on and painting side. Okay, so if you do want to do this, it is going to be time consuming. You're going to need a bit of patience. Not really tricky, it's just one of these kind of just a bit of a boring sort of job. But what you do is you pour on a bit of our polish onto a clean cloth, okay, and then we just simply polish it on, right, using circles, okay, and we just keep going and we keep going until the polish that we've put onto this starts to disappear. Okay, and you'll probably notice already that you're starting to get this kind of glassy effect start to show as you polish more and more the compound into our paintwork. Okay, so as you could tell, this is going to be a bit boring and you're going to need some patience to keep doing these circles and polish all round, and it's going to get a bit tricky where you've got like your lumps and bumps here and you've got to try and get in there and give them a polish. Okay, because we don't want, you know, a nice mirror finish on flat surfaces and then where you got lumps and bumps it's looking, you know, just an okay gloss. Okay, because you will notice the difference if you don't polish these areas, and it just gives it that really nice polish effect when you've done it. Okay, so you keep at it, and eventually you'll start to see that it has polished in to our paintwork. Okay, so it's probably looking a bit like this. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's a little bit misty at the moment. And what this is, you've polished it on, but you need to now buff it off. Okay, now to buff it off you need to then get another bit of cloth, but completely clean, no polish on it, and you then buff off what's on here. And immediately, as soon as you start buffing this off, you will see that it really starts to buff. Okay, yeah, I think you can see that on camera. It is really starting to nicely buff up, really nice. Okay, and you just buff this all around This part shouldn't take too long, okay? Remember to get in those raised areas and buff them up as well, because we don't want unbuffed areas, because it will show up. Don't forget your leading edges. Okay. We can keep buffing at this and buffing at this, and actually the more you seem to buff at it as well, the more it seems to shine up even more. Okay. Now the other problem is with this is it can go, the polish can go into your recessed panel lines. So when it goes into recessed panel lines, you can then get like, because this is a white polish, it can build up in your recessed panel lines, and if that happens, okay, you're going to end up having your panel lines start looking white, which in some ways can be a slight advantage. So wetting in a cotton wool bud, okay, we can then come in and just in our panel lines, recessed panel lines, just rub out what polish we've got, okay, and then you could use maybe the dry end and sort of maybe polish in these areas where you've just rubbed out the polish, okay. So just polishing that up, and you can even get into, say, little corners where you can't quite get in with your cloth, and use your cotton wool bud to do a bit of polish and buffing there, and then we can come back with our cloth and make sure this has got a nice buff to it and get it all nice and sorted. Okay. Right then, so looking at this on camera now, as you can see, that has really given us a real nice shiny effect, which, to be honest with you, although it's up to you how you do this, because you do have a nice glossy finish with the kind of, you know, brushing on gloss and everything, but this really does, you know, give it that high gloss finish and gives you that real nice edge that makes it really stand out. It just it really does give you that kind of glass mirror finish. Now, I did mention before that you can buy kind of like polishing kits and stuff, okay, which I know I looked once and it was around about maybe £50, and you get like a polishing compound, and you get like special rags and special sanding stuff and all this kind of stuff, and I've never used it, so I can't comment on it. But if you want to go for that kind of stuff, I can kind of imagine that you could really get some really nice kind of, you know, a Ferrari kind of surface, you know, something really special. But for me, you know, I don't normally do gloss work, so, you know, these nice techniques of just, you know, spraying on the gloss, painting on the gloss, and then using this Tamiya compound, you know, it's still effective, and, you know, it is quite cheap compared to, you know, buying these special polishing kits, okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to bore you with me polishing the whole of this model, so I'm going to go polish this off now, and we can then come along and start putting everything together. Right then, gone round, polished it all up. I've put the elevators on the end because they're really easy, just slot them in, and I've just dabbed a little bit of Tamiya extra thin cement just to keep them in place. And as you could tell, I mean, this is looking really nice and shiny, well worth the effort of putting that Tamiya polishing compound down. Okay, I even, while the canopy was actually open, I polished up the canopy again just to give that an extra little shine to it. So what we need to do now is do our final touches of starting to slap on all our landing gear and stuff. Now what I'm doing is I'm just open up a new tub of Zap-A-Gap. Now this is a medium CA glue. You can get, I'll just get them. You can get a the slow zap, which is like a thick CA glue, and this is good for if you want to super glue something but you want to play around with it a bit. Getting the thick stuff slows the gluing time down, so that's good for that. Then you've got like the Zap Thin CA glue, which is like a really thin CA glue, and this stuff dries really quick. So you know, if you want to stuff like maybe remove before flight tags, maybe some photo etch, you want it to glue quick, you know, you can use the thin stuff. The thin stuff is good for like a capillary action as well, so if you want to like get under stuff, that's good to kind of have that capillary action. But this is a medium glue, and it's just nice as like a medium kind of do most gluing bits. Now with this stuff, I do like to get something like an old paper towel and just very quickly wipe the lid clean of any super glue. You've got to do it quickly or you'll end up having well, bits of paper towel stuck to your lid. You want it nice and clean, you want to seal it up and get it sealed up, because it is quite good value for money, because I think they're around about £5-ish, and you get a whole 1 ounce, which is a lot of super glue. Only problem is, if you don't take care of like your lid, you'll only get through it about a quarter of the way through, and your lid and your nozzle and everything's all knackered, and you end up having to buy another one. So if you take care of your lid and your nozzle, you'll you'll be all good. So applying the CA glue, we want to just get a cocktail stick, and the first thing I want to do is I want to start getting on my landing gear. Okay, so it would be a good idea to have the instructions at this stage, just to double check how our landing gear goes on. Where is it? There it is. I'll just put that in front of me so I know what I'm doing. Okay, now it does actually say to glue our pieces on here first. So let me just get orientated to what I'm doing. Okay. So it looks okay. Right then. Okay, so that goes on there. I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue where we need to join, and that goes on there very nicely. Okay, and that should stick down pretty damn quick. Okay, and then we're going to test fit this now into our hole, which our hole, because we've done all spraying and painting and stuff, it's kind of made the hole that our landing gear goes into a bit smaller for a bit of build up. So just get in a little drill here, and we can just quickly drill in and around and kind of open up this hole. May as well do the other side. Okay, and then we can hopefully get this to fit better then. It's still a little tricky, but that's now in. Okay, make sure it fits good. That looks good, and then we can just dip this into our CA glue, and then we can basically almost screws in the way this feels. And then we want to quickly, before it dries, make sure we're all lined up how we want to. Come in from all angles, close one eye, and just check that it's looking straight and everything. Now I should have probably put 2 gloves on, because I've just put fingerprints on my nice glossy surface. Okay. So that's wheel 1. Again, we quickly do the same with this one. Oh no, that's the front wheel. Get with it. Okay, apply where this is going to glue. And that'll glue pretty quick in place. And then we want to check again this side to make sure this is going to fit, which it is. Dip it in a bit of the CA glue and fix that in, and then just make sure it's in the right orientation. Okay, that looks good, looking good. Okay, and then we can then work on our front. Now the instructions, I did forget to mention this in the build stage. The instructions will want you to have this glued into place like right at the beginning, okay? But I've cut this in a way where we can have this out and not have to faff around with gluing. Well, not having to faff around, should I say, with having this sticking out and, you know, all the kind of masking up and stuff. We'll just make sure this is orientated nicely. Okay. A little bit of manoeuvring. Okay, I think that looks good. And that should be good to go down. You can just bring your head to the table. Let's get it off this actually. And you can just see how good it is. See if it's nice and level. Making sure, you know, we haven't got it slanting to one side a bit and whatnot. So it looks good, and that does look good. Okay. Right, we've got some more pieces here. And we can make sure we got these the right way, which I think the best way is just to follow the actual decals, and we can just dip the 2 tabs there, and then we can just pop them in nicely, and then we can do the same the other side and pop these in nicely. Okay, kind of another little tip, if you want to get some vital bond, this is basically a super glue activator. Some people call it kicker, and what it is where you apply super glue. So let's kind of wax something on. If you do find a bit of an area tricky, we can get some tweezers, hold it very gently. We'll apply some super glue to the 2 little tabs here. Okay, and then we can apply, just check my instructions, make sure, yep, that's right. And then we can just apply this to where it needs to be. And that looks about right. Maybe a little bit of a manoeuvre. And then we can come in with a kicker and spray where that is. Give it a blow. And what that's just done, it's just literally instantly made the glue cure, go rock hard and glue into place. Okay, so that's good if you're kind of fiddling around with something trying to get it to glue, and if you quickly spray it with that, it just boom, it's in place and you can crack on. But sometimes you might get what we've got here. We've got like a bit of white misty super glue. I like to just get a cotton wool bud, bit moist, give it a wipe, and as you can see, it's just wiping away nicely. Okay. And that's looking better. Okay. I'll do the rest of the landing gear in a bit. I'm just going to kind of move along a bit. Now we've got our aerials here, which are still on the tabs. Now because they're so small, it's good to keep them on the tabs if you can. And we're just going to cut this off. Okay, and then we're just going to try and tidy this up with a blade. Okay, so what we've got, it's mainly black, but we are still in, we've still got some bits here that still need to be painted. Now I've found the best way to do this is if you can just, you stick it into place, okay, and then paint it while it's on the model. I find that is the best way to do it. So we get a bit of our extra thin cement and pop that in. Ooh, have I got that in the right way? No, I haven't. So let's quickly move it to the other hole, which it should be in. Okay, a bit of glue down on that. Make sure that's nice, straight, lined up. Okay. Right, we're nice and straightly lined up there. I think it needs a little bit of more extra thin just underneath it. Okay. Okay, that looks good. And then we can come along with our, where's our black gone? Here's our black. Okay, let's get a nice paintbrush. Okay, put a bit of black on the end of your paintbrush, and you can just nicely apply onto our aerial while it's on the model, and it just makes it that little bit easier rather than trying to fiddle around with those little pieces. Okay, so that's nice and done there. We've also got a really nice natural metal finish here, and I'm being careful that I don't get any of the kind of sort of like the paint come. Oh, that's nice, that's really nice. See, now that's just gone in there real nice. I probably don't even have to add any glue because it's such a nice fit, nice and tight, slides in nicely. But I'm just gonna, you know, put a little bit, you know, nothing major because it really doesn't need a lot. Just get the capillary action just to get under in 4 corners. Okay, and that's all nicely in place, and that does look nice on there. Okay, so that's in place. Now I'm gonna go off camera now, and I'm gonna finish off doing the rest of the landing gear doors because there's a bit more here. Putting a few more of these antennas and stuff on, pitot tube, and really, and then we're going to finish up with the last bit. The last bit, which I like to leave till last, is all our little clear parts of navigation lights and all that stuff. So I'll be back in a sec. Right then, what we've got is our complete red arrows. Now I've just quickly done those final little bits, which was to put on our navigation lights. There's one on the top as well, and we've got our one at the front. This was pretty easy. It was just a simple case of, you know, dabbing a bit of green here to kind of indicate like there's a bulb in there. I put some blue inside this one, and we just glued that on with Tamar extra thin cement. So that finishes it all off now. You could have done a few other things if you wanted to kind of maybe scratch build this up a bit better and whatnot. You could have, if you wanted to maybe put some washes on this as well. But I decided to keep this basic and really nice and clean. So, okay, for the Airfix 1 in 48 scale red arrows, I mean, what can I say really about this kind of final build? I mean, we've gone through it and everything, and in all honesty, I mean, there were problems with it, which is kind of expected of Airfix. Well, Airfix old kit, should I say. The new ones are getting better, but, you know, there were some slight fit issues, nothing major. The actual fitting wasn't too bad. The detailing is, shall we say, a little bit bland. It is recessed panel lines, which is nice, but the cockpit area was pretty dreadful, and that's why we've got our two pilots in there to nicely try and cover up all that pretty bland detail. So, you know, a bit of a negative point there on the cockpit, but I mean, it did go together quite nicely. So as a beginner, you know, it goes together nice. You can have a little go at a few fit issues with a bit of filling and sanding, and because of it being the red arrows, you don't have to mess around with all that fancy spraying. You can just, as we did, just blast on a primer, blast on the main coat, and, you know, get it all nicely glossed up. And you can decide how glossy you want to go, whether you want to, you know, just spray it gloss, whether you want to do some painting or glossing, whether you want to use the Tamiya compounds. Okay, so it is a nice, easy, basic kit. It is nice and cheap. The decals are actually rather nice, but I find they don't fit very well to the model. Okay, that was the one thing that kind of niggled me a bit about this. Was we did mention how our little white stripe here didn't go all the way to our air intake, so we had to cut up some ourselves, which was a bit, you know, annoying. And then also here, the shape of the model, we've got this white stripe that goes along here. The end of this white stripe is supposed to go to the end of where the pitot tube starts. However, you know, as you can see, the pitot tube and that white stripe is actually, you know, the white stripe comes below it when it should be actually, you know, smack bang with it. So I think that is down to actually the shape of this actual kit or something like that, but that's inaccurate with the decals. And it would have been nice if these actuators would have fit perfectly, because then we could have really got our white arrow here down a little easier. Apart from that, I mean, the decals were good quality decals, just as I say, they didn't seem to slightly align up with the model. So really, this kit is definitely nice, recommended. If you are someone who wants to get really advanced and really go for it, I think Revell does a 1 in 32nd scale, and I think you can get quite a few aftermarket parts for even the 1 in 48. This one here, you know, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to get resin cockpits, resin seats, you know, photo etch and all that kind of stuff to really kind of make this a bit advanced. And, you know, there is room for like scratch building on this kit, because I mean, you've got those, I forgot what they were, but they kind of they're like 3 little pipes that kind of go around the exhaust, which kind of gives you that smoky trail from blue, white and red. You can scratch build them in, you know, so there is lots of room to do stuff with this kit. But I've got to say, this has been an enjoyment. It has been nice, basic. You know, it's been nice going through it with you, and yeah, no problems with this. So what's going to happen now is this one's all done. I'm going to put final reveals onto the forum. I'm going to put this up on eBay, and I'm going to start the next build, which I think I might give you a little sneak peek of what step-by-step video build is coming up next. Okay, it's a bit of a big box, so I'm going to have to zoom you out a second. Okay, and what we're going to be doing, hold on, I think we need to zoom out a bit more. Play with the camera a sec, and there we go. I hope I haven't just damaged my new model after just this second completing it. It looks okay, but yeah, this is what we've got next. We've got the Junker JU88A4. It's made by Revell. It's 1 in 48 scale, and it's going to be a big one. Okay, this is what's coming up next, so look out for that on the next step-by-step video build. The Red Arrows has been really enjoyable, well recommended kit. So until the next step-by-step video build, happy modelling and goodbye.